When you no longer have enough hours in the day for you to get done all the things that need to be done in your business, inevitably things are going to slip. Well, hey, my friend, welcome back to the podcast. It is Friday at almost 5 o'clock at night, and I am doing a podcast at this time of day, which is really unusual for me. But I wanted to chat with you about a topic that I think is going to be a blessing to some of you. So I was talking to some of the people on my team recently, and I was telling them every single business owner is going to get to a place in their business where they run out of time or run out of talent. And Nell said, Jennifer, I've never actually heard you say that before. And I'm like, well, maybe I just think of it in my brain, but we do. Honestly, every entrepreneur will get to a point in your business where you either run out of time, like there's not enough hours of the day, or you run out of talent, meaning you just don't know how to do the things that you need to do next in order for your business to go to the next level. So what does one do when you run out of time or when you run out of talent? And the only thing that you can do at that point is you have to hire help. Okay. So let me just say that one of the questions I get asked all the time when I'm on coaching calls with women, whether they're in my mastermind or they're in one of my programs or my monthly group with Equip, is they will ask me, Jen, how do I know when it's time to like hire help? And one of the ways you can tell, one of the biggest ways I think that you will know when it's time to hire help is when you ask yourself that question. I wonder when I should hire help. That usually means it's past time. By the time you're thinking, I wonder when I should, you've probably already gone past the time when if I was coaching you in your business, I would say, friend, you need to hire some help. Okay. Here's why so many people, and the thing is like most of the women I'm coaching, they know that. They know that they already should have hired help. They know that they have run out of time. They know that they've run out of talent. They know that they're at a crossroad or cross path or past cross or whatever the word is, but they have serious hangups about hiring help. And some of the hangups is, they'll want to say, well, I can't afford to hire help. To which I will say, well, you also can't afford not to. I mean, you don't have any more hours in the day. Did you listen to my podcast about business owners and nervous systems? Because if you continue to push at the degree and the level that you currently are, thinking that you can just hustle your way into the next level and you can work more hours in the next level, like you're going to exhaust yourself. And at some point, your body's going to be like, you know what? We're not happy about this. We're not happy about this. So like you only have so many hours in a day, right? You also are only gifted and wired in so many ways in terms of like taking your business and scaling it or going to the next level, whatever that may look like. There is not one single person on this planet who, when God was handing out talents, he gave you the ability to be good at sales and marketing and social media and strategy and project planning and customer service and software development and all of the other things that is required of a business owner in the year 2024. Like nobody gets all of those gifts. I mean, you might get it to a certain degree, but you also get to a point where mediocre just no longer cuts it. And so I think there's sometimes when people are like, well, I can't afford it. I'm like, friend, you can't afford not to because you can't go any further on your own. You've grown this thing to as far as you can by yourself. You've gotten as far as you can just by like, white knuckling it and relying on Google and YouTube videos. Like now it's time to, bring in some help. Okay. And when people are like, well, I can't afford to hire help. I'm like, okay, the right hire should bring 4 times the amount of their income back to you in salary. So if you hire somebody for, let's say, a $50K a year position, hopefully that position will help you to bring in $200,000 a year. That's just like a rough number. But when people are saying, I can't afford to hire help, I'm like, you can't afford not to because you can't do any more on your own. You have run out of hours. You're not smart enough, and neither am I, and neither is anybody, to do all the things in a business. And a lot of times when people are thinking, well, I should be able to do all the things in my business. Okay, well, I wonder how much of that comes down to pride. How much of that is you thinking that you should be able to be good at all the things when nobody is good at all the things? How much of that is you thinking that nobody's going to do it as good as you, by goodness? So you better just keep doing it yourself. Well, listen, that is such a small way of thinking. That is not the way entrepreneurs think. Entrepreneurs do not think nobody's going to be able to do it as good as me. Listen, you're right. But that still doesn't mean you don't hire. Nobody is going to care about your business as much as you do. That's the way it should be. God gave it to you. This is what he's asked you to steward on this side of heaven, not the people that you're hiring. He's asked them to come in and probably support you and your vision and the company. But your job is to steward well on this side of heaven what God has given you, gifted to you, given you the vision for. And so you can't expect other people to be, as dialed in and be as good at everything and be the visionary. Like, you can't expect them to be operating like with the same thinking and processing and all the things that the visionary, the CEO, you are supposed to be. So for women who are like, well, nobody else, cares about my business as much as I do. And okay, still you need to hire. Okay. You still need to hire. So like, we need to set down our pride. All right. A lot of times it's fear that women don't want to hire help. And the fear sometimes will come from, well, what if I hire somebody and it's awful? Okay. Well, this isn't a marriage, for goodness sakes. Then you fire them. You don't have to fire them and it be awful. By the way, I've let plenty of people go on Team Allwood, or we have as a team, other people in my company have. And it's been a very good process where it was just like, hey, you know what? I don't know that this is any longer a good fit. And while you're staying here, you're missing out on something that would be an even better fit for you. And so I just want to bless you as you go and pray over you. And thank you for, all you've done here at Team Allwood. But I think at this point, it's time for us to go in different directions. Like, it doesn't have to be drama. It doesn't have to be awful. It doesn't have to be tears. It doesn't have to be screaming. Like, there's so many ways it could look. And so, oh, I've got dogs barking here. Got dogs barking. And so if you are nervous about somebody, what if it doesn't work out? Well, if it doesn't work out, then you just move on to the next person. What if they steal everything, that I've built? Okay, well, what are actually the chances of that happening? It's so slim, friends. And so you're letting something that has a very small potential of happening dictate and stunt the growth of your company down the road. You really are. And so, like, stop thinking about the wrong things. You have full control over your thought life, full control. So if your brain goes to, oh, nobody will do it as good as I am, you need to correct yourself. Oh yeah, Jen said that would be the case and I still need to hire. If you're thinking to yourself, what if somebody steals all of my ideas, all of my money, runs off with everything? Well, listen, we serve a God who is an incredible accountant. If you do not think that he will balance the scales, you are very, very wrong. Okay. So like, that shouldn't even be something you're worried about. Well, what if I don't have the money to pay them? Well, what if you do? I mean, remember how I said they should be adding like revenue. It's hard to figure out exactly how much revenue a particular position adds to your company, because somebody like customer service, well, they're not selling, right? So it's difficult to determine a customer service position, how much revenue are they bringing in. However, if you were doing the customer service and you were the one working 5, 6, 8, 10 hours a day, like, then you would be focusing all those hours every week on customer service that could be spent dreaming, vision casting, making new products, getting new clients, etc. So it's like a customer service person is definitely adding to your bottom line, just in a different way than direct sales. Does that make sense? And so, if you're thinking to yourself, okay, so I know I need to hire, like, when is the right time to hire? I want to go back to those 2 key points of you're either going to run out of time or you're going to run out of talent, because I think that it's critical that you understand that you're stunting your business when you are not getting some help. Okay. And by the way, if we go back just one more point here, sometimes people are scared. Well, if I hire somebody, what if I don't have enough work for them? Well, hire them on a trial basis. Listen, you don't have to hire full-time employees with benefits all the time. You can do a temporary hire. You can do like a hire for a particular project. You can do a contract position. You can do part-time. You can do full-time employee. Like, there's so many different ways to work that out. And so I would definitely talk to whoever helps you with your bookkeeping or your taxes to figure out what would be the good fit for you. But just because you've never done it before and you don't understand how it's supposed to look is still not a good enough reason for you not to hire help. Okay. All right. So back to what I was saying. You're going to run into 2 things. You're either going to run out of time or you're going to run out of talent. All right. So when you run out of time, here's what ends up happening. When you no longer have enough hours in the day for you to get done all the things that need to be done in your business, inevitably things are going to slip. Sometimes it's things within the business, but other times it's non-businessy things that are a little less tangible. So you may be spending so much time on your business that you're no longer focused on your marriage. You're no longer focusing on your children. You're no longer going to the gym and having time to work out and taking care of yourself physically. You find yourself going through drive-throughs, etc. When you run out of time, I promise you, it's affecting so many other areas of your business. And there's a cost to that. Because when you're working, more hours than what you want to or should, or that your family and the people closest to you are able to handle, then inevitably there's going to be burnout. The people closest to you will start getting bitter. They'll start to resent the very thing you're building. And that doesn't go well for anyone. I can remember a time when the kids were little. I think we had Noah and Easton both. I was owning and running the painting company, the Magic Brush. And yes, I am drinking myself a chocolate protein drink. Sorry. But we had the boys in like a mom's day out. I'm guessing they were like 4 and 2 at the time. For 6 hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And that would allow me to go out into the field and to look at projects and, so those 12 hours, the kids were essentially, it wasn't a preschool. I think it's so funny when people call mom's day out preschool. It was, I mean, can we just call it mom's day out daycare? That's what it is. Okay. And so they would be with somebody for 12 hours a week. So the business was getting really, really busy. And I can remember thinking, okay, I need to go up to 3 days a week. And when I did that, and we tried putting the kids in an additional day every week, I can tell you the wheels fell off the bus at home. The laundry got completely backed up. Meals were not planned out. Everything was chaos. Jason was cranky. I was cranky. The kids were cranky. And it was super interesting because it's one of those things that we wouldn't have known unless we tried it. But what we figured out is, okay, the family does okay when mom is outside of the house for those 2 days a week for that 12 hours. But you add on another 6 hours and we take it to 18 hours outside the house and all the wheels fall off the bus. And I don't even necessarily know if we knew exactly why or if it's even important. All I know is that our family didn't cope well with that. And so then I had to dial it back. So what happens sometimes though, is when you're just like, well, I have to work more hours. Actually, you don't, you can get somebody else to help you, because if the wheels are falling off the bus at home, in your marriage, with your children, I know you think you have to, but there is no amount of work that is worth that. No amount of work. All right. So you will run out of time, and there will be a time when you're like, you've just got to delegate. There's a cost to you not hiring. You're stretched way too thin. You're not doing all of the things that you do for your business completely in integrity and with a lot of, what do I want to say? It's not good. The work you're doing is not good. I can remember back before I hired my first executive assistant. And I found myself when I was answering emails just being like super short. And it's not because I have a gruff personality or I'm really bristly or anything. It's just because I was so stretched for time that I was just like, yep, that sounds great. Send, or just no, thank you, send. And then I got to this point where I was like, okay, Jen, you're really not giving people a good vision. Like, is that the feeling you want people to be left with? Do you want them to have that taste in their mouth that you're short, that you have no time for them, that you're not even like fluffing up an email with all my best, Jennifer, or whatever. And so I knew in my knower, okay, you're going to need to hire somebody to start taking care of your email first, because this is how people are perceiving you and your company, especially when they're trying to decide to hire you, to whether it's to paint their house or to coach them later on. And you want them to walk away from any sort of an interaction, whether it was a call on the 800 number, whether it was, an email or what have you, but you want them to walk away feeling like you are running something that is professional. You are going to take really good care of them. You care about your customers, and your little 3-word answer, Jen, via email is no longer cutting it. So I'm telling you, you will possibly at some point run out of time, or the other is you're going to run out of talent. And you're going to come to a point where you just don't have the knowledge or the skill to go any further. You can't figure out how to build the website. You're not sure how to make the email opt-in. You don't know how to have the fancy schmancy, business email that I talked about in the recent podcast episode of like, I think it was the 5 things every legit business needs to have. When you get to that point where you just don't have the skill anymore, a lot of times what happens is business owners will sit down at their computer, they'll go to YouTube, they'll Google, and they'll try to figure out how to do all the things that they're just naturally not wired to do. And so then what ends up happening is you start, right? And 100% of you are going to be able to understand this, especially you creatives. So you'll Google, how do I make a landing page, right? So then you watch 10 videos, and by now 30 minutes is gone, and you kind of went off on a rabbit trail watching somebody make a floral arrangement, and then you watch somebody else on a TikTok video that you somehow got to, but then you bring yourself back and you're like, okay, landing page, I've got this. So you start making the landing page, but then the phone rings, the kiddos need you. So you walk away from it, go back to making the landing page. Then you realize, hey, I need to go start some dinner. So you walk away from it. Same thing happens the next day. You get a little further, but then the next day, and before you know it, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years have gone by. You still keep telling yourself, I'm going to get to that thing. And the truth is, like, it's not your wheelhouse. You've run out of talent. You are very talented in other areas. Stop thinking you have to be able to do all the things. This is when you call in help. This is when you get a VA. This is when you go to my VA service. You go to Equipped 360 and you get our software and you let my team make things for you. But you stop trying to think that you should be able to do it all and that you should do it all, because what that's inevitably doing is it's keeping you small. And you're wondering why you're not growing. And it's because your pride is preventing you from getting help. The amount of time that you're spending right now, some of you are working so hard to do all the things that you're like, I don't even have time to hire anybody. Okay, well, you're going to either have to pay the price now or you're going to have to pay it later, but there is a price to pay. You're either going to have to take out time out of your schedule now to train someone, or you're going to have to do it 6 months or 6 years from now. But either way, you're going to have to pay the price, in some time and some sweat equity with you sitting with someone and teaching. Like, that has to happen at some point. And you keep kicking that can up the road thinking, it's the lie we all tell ourselves. Well, in the next season, we'll be much less busy. It's really going to slow down in the next season. I mean, I don't know. Jason and I have laughed and laughed at how many times we've said that in our marriage. In this next season, it's really going to slow down, really going to get better. It never does. Newsflash. It never slows down. There's always kids. There's always stuff. There's always family. There's always people that need you. There's always something. So take some time, like hit the pause button, figure out what you need to be hiring for. Figure out, if you just need more time in your everyday, what is it that you could pass over to someone else? Do they need to be an employee? Could they be a contractor? Should they just be temporary help? Like, it's going to happen now or later if you want to grow. I promise you cannot give me the name of one entrepreneur who is solo, all by his or herself, who is at the, let's just say, 6-figure mark and above, who is a Lone Ranger. You just can't do it. Every single one of them is working with a VA, has a project manager, has an assistant, someone that is helping them. So when you get to that point where you're out of time, when you're out of talent, find some help. I don't care if it's with me or with someone else. If you want, you can go to Equipped 360. That's EQUIPT, Equipped 360.com, or find a virtual assistant somewhere, but get some help, because I guarantee you there are things that you are doing right now. You think, well, this is what it's supposed to look like. I need to figure it out. And this is what I got to do in order to grow. No, what you need to grow is you need to get some help. And once you do that, now I know I just can never do a podcast again when the kids are home. Once you get the help that you actually need, then so much like opportunity and space and capacity gets opened up to you in your business so that you can focus on the things that you actually really need to focus on. So, okay, I hope that this was helpful for someone. If you're watching on YouTube, would you comment below? We love your comments. If you're listening to this anywhere else and you just want to put a screenshot of this with the link to it on your Instagram stories, I would be so grateful. And I hope that this was a blessing to you. It was a blessing to me to record. So much love to you. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.
Easton, come home and get your dogs. Lola, come here. Lola, you want to show all the people your really bad haircut? Come on, show all the people. Lola had to get a haircut. Ooh, she looks like a string